Hello, everybody. This is Hondo Carpenter, your Sports Illustrated beat writer covering the Las Vegas Raiders for you and the host of the Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast. It is great to be with you today. We are sitting here on Friday, the 19th of July, 2024, just 4 days away from the start of camp. People are fired up and excited, and they should be. Our long wandering in the wilderness of without football is almost over. It's almost back, and not very much longer. The smell of Bengay will be in the air, and fresh mowed grass, the chlorophyll rising like an incense. It's going to be back. It's an exciting time of year, a lot of optimism, and today we're going to really ride that vein of optimism. And I'm going to talk to you about reasons for optimism when it comes to the Las Vegas Raiders rushing attack. Now, before we get into today, I want to just take a quick moment and thank all of the kids who emailed yesterday. And it was great answering all the emails from the kids. We got a lot of emails of people complaining, saying, I didn't even listen. I don't care about kids' question. I'm a football fan. All right, whatever. That's fine. You're welcome to go listen to anybody you want. I think it's great that the kids want to get involved and they care. And boy, they had some really, really good questions, and it was great and it was fun. And just appreciate all of you who email and want to be part of the show and the program. And it's very, very kind of you. And I appreciate it. And to all you kids, thank you. Got a bunch of yesterday after the podcast, got a bunch more from kids. So who knows? We may do it again someday. Not sure, but we may. But I would leave you with this caveat and point. Several months ago, my wife and I were in another city, and we were visiting a church on a Sunday. And the pastor got up and talked about the children are our future. And when we walked out, my wife and I were talking about, well, they're part of the church today. They're not part of the future. They're part of the church today. And I only say that because Raider Nation is a family. And how many of you out there got your love of this franchise and your love of this team? And I get tons of emails from you. I read them every day. I certainly don't read all of them, but me or my staff do. And your love of the Raiders started when you were young. Don't discount young people. Don't discount it. Don't not pay attention to it. They are part of Raider Nation today, and a big part. And if you care about Raider Nation and to seeing it grow in perpetuity and watching it continue long after you're gone, then they should matter to you. So a little bit of my own personal advice, but I appreciate all you kids and everyone that got into it. So now we're going to begin today in talking about optimism with the Raiders rushing attack. It is imperative that you understand the Raider mindset when it comes to their offense. Now, the first thing you need to know is the bedrock of Antonio Pierce is they have to have a dominating defense, not a good defense. They have to be dominating. Antonio Pierce wants a defense that's going to come up and punch you in the face and get your attention. Now, where he comes about that philosophy is he's a defender, but he saw with great success what happened in New York when they had a very good quarterback in Eli Manning, and who did not take unnecessary risks, who didn't put the ball in jeopardy, who trusted his defense to get him the ball back. So if you really want to know where they're going, what they want out of their scheme, where they're headed directionally, where the Raiders are in relation to modernity, then you want to go look at those teams. Now, so the Raiders' mindset is we're going to have a dominating defense, and we want an offense that doesn't cost us. They believe in being opportunistic. They are committed to having the best punter and the best kicker, because they want a team that they believe, and I agree, by the way, that special teams, that punter can flip the field. And how many times have we watched A.J. Cole do it? He's the best punter in the NFL, period. And how many times have you watched A.J. Cole flip the field? All right. You get the ball to 20. You throw a ball and you run the ball. You don't pick up the first down. You don't have to be stupid. You don't have to take a stupid shot. Why? Because you're going to kick the ball with A.J. Cole, and they're going to end up at their 15. Then the other team gets stopped by your dominating defense. Now all of a sudden you're 1st and 10. The opponent's 45 or you're 45. Then you're able to take some risks. It's a very smart, intuitive way to play the game of football. Is it Don Coryell? No. Is it the Bolts when they had Dan Fouts? No. But what it is it's a very smart way of football. See, the Chiefs are the world champion. We all know that. We give them that credit. And there's a lot of people with the mentality, because they don't understand the game of football. Oh, we've got to go run an offense like the Chiefs. No, you don't. You have to run an offense and have a defense and a special teams that can beat the Chiefs. Now, certainly, if you have the personnel, you can go try to outscore them. Nothing wrong with that. But if you don't, then you're able to build your team and mold your team like the Raiders have, a very dominant defense, an opportunistic offense. And remember, the motto isn't just win sexy, it's just win baby. So when you look at the Raider attack on the offense, this is what they want. They want that ability, and they're going to throw the football. It isn't just going to be 70 runs a game. That's not what they want. The Raiders are throw the ball down the field and use our receivers. But their mentality is different from the standpoint of they want to throw the ball when they want to, not when they have to. Antonio Pierce wants to avoid being in situations where he has to throw. It's 3rd and 10, you're down 12, 4th quarter, 4 minutes to go. He wants to avoid putting himself in positions where the defense knows what he's going to do. I think you're going to see a lot of, I want to think real quick because I'll use this term. You're going to see a lot of draws on 3rd downs, because if it's a long distance situation, a lot of teams will call a defense that sits back a little bit. Let's say it's 3rd and 12 and you're at your 30. All right. They may not stack the box. So you run a draw. You may pick up 8 yards, but it puts A.J. Cole 8 yards further down the field. Then sometimes they may be able to break a play. Bam, you're gone. Go back if you've DVR'd the game and watch last year's game against the Chiefs on Christmas Day. There were a couple of situations where the Raiders were down, not score-wise, but down in distance situations. And Zamir was able to, because of the way they positioned their defense, get to the second level. But because of his speed and because of his size, he was able to break some things and pick up some first down. Okay. Again, it's not precluding the pass. It's including the pass, but it's including it upon your terms. Antonio Pierce is always going to have a mentality of we are attacking with the football. Antonio Pierce attacks at everything he does. I'm convinced if he gets up, Jocelyn makes him a bagel and a glass of orange juice, he's attacking it. That's his mindset. It's his mantra. It's how he operates. But still, when you attack, if you've ever read the book Sun Tzu, The Art of War, terrific ancient book on war techniques by one of the most respected military minds in the history of the world. Sun Tzu talks about, you want to attack on your terms. You want to attack when it's something it's something that you're ready. Don't fight till you're ready. So you want to attack, you want to go down the field, but again, on your terms. Now, I know you may say to me, but Hondo, you're talking about the rushing attack. I am, but you can't disavow either one in a scheme. You have to understand the scheme. You've got to understand what gets them from point A to point B. So the first thing is, and we're going to get to the rushing attack, is the passing game is predicated on when they want to pass. It's their mindset. Now, you may remember several weeks ago, I talked about the importance of first downs. I want to see the Raiders on first down with nearly 50% of those reps being pass. Why? In the past, the Raider mindset, and a lot of it has been we using their voice, not mine. I'm not the Raiders. We run on first down. Well, you want to keep teams guessing. Are they running? Are they passing on first down? To me, one of the biggest stats this year is going to be first down passing percentage. That's going to be a very big deal. I'm gonna watch that like a hawk, and I encourage you to watch it. The more you're passing on first down, the more opportunity it does for your team to open up the running game. Now, very quickly, there are intricacies to passing on first down. You have to be able to throw the ball, and you got to be able to catch the ball. So we've seen accuracy out of Aiden O'Connell. We know Gardner Minshew has shown accuracy. So, and then it's not just having an accurate quarterback. You have to have an offensive line that buys some time. And then you also have to have receivers that can catch the ball. All three are good. You've got quarterbacks with accuracy, offensive line that can buy time, and wide receivers that can catch the football. The Raiders are going to be fine there. I'm not worried about it. Now, in this Getsy scheme, and I'm going to get to the rushing attack in a minute, but I'm setting up something. I'm trying to give you more knowledge on how to watch your Raiders. Don't be surprised if you see some slants in unique situations. Okay, Hondo, what's a slant? A slant is when a receiver or a tight end comes off the ball at an angle. So I want you to picture that you got Michael Mayer at the tight end position on the right. He's right next to Thayer Mumford. Okay. There's a defensive end and a backer. It's when he literally runs right off the rear end of that defensive end. He tries to get between the defensive end. I mean, he'll even brush against him, but between the defensive end and the linebacker. So the quarterback has a short 3-yard slant. Just it's real quick. If they're blitzing, he gets between that outside linebacker and that middle backer, just right there. You'll see it when teams are blitzing, because what happens is, and I know it doesn't work on TV like this, but if here's the receiver and here is the outside backer, okay? If you cut inside like this guy automatically is at a disadvantage. So if the quarterback puts the ball right in the hands in front of him and you're behind the mic, it's 7-8 yards every time. And if you can break a tackle, it can be big money. So you're going to watch those slants when teams are stacking the box. Just keep that there in your back of your head. Now, switching gears to the rushing game. Why am I so optimistic about the rushing game? Great question. Thank you. First of all, Zamir White, you notice that there's been a lot of problems. You saw it firsthand. You got Raider Nation had a first row seat to watching Josh Jacobs unhappy with the running back contracts in the National Football League. You've heard a lot about how players are very frustrated with that. But it is the reality. It is a position that takes a beating. Now, here's the advantage of going to an Alabama, which we're going to have to wait and see. It's probably not going to be the same now that Nick isn't there. Or going to a Georgia with Kirby Smart. They like to run their running backs by committee. They like to have a lot of running backs and a lot of different guys touching the football. That's a lot better than going to some Big Ten school that has a running back that's carried the ball ad nauseum, whose body has taken a brutal beating. A lot better. Stay with me. So Zeus comes here to the Raiders and very successful in college, won a national title at Georgia, put a display on for the nation at running back with a ton of tread on the tires because he was in a program that preserved him. So then he comes to the Raiders, and Josh Jacobs was here. He wasn't expected to tote the rock from year one. So he gets here, and when he finally gets his shot to tote the rock, because Josh was injured quite a bit, he performed at a very high level. So let's talk about Zeus. Number one, although he has a track record of proven performance in big games, which that's the biggest thing you want to see. Of all the indicators, that's number one. Past performance is indicative of future performance. He's got a history in big games over an extended period of time of being highly productive and valuable. The second reason for optimism, though, is that while having a track record of extremely valuable contribution in big games, he does not have much tread on the tires. There are a lot of rookie running backs that enter the NFL where Zeus is this year, and they already have more carries than him because they were in a program that just beat the daylights out of them. That's not Zeus. So Zeus that's a great thing as well. You have a proven past performance, which is indicative of future performance, and very little tread on the tires. Number three, Zeus is a young man that understands, and I credit his family, and I credit Georgia for this, and I credit the Raiders. He takes exceptionally good care of his body. I have been around the game of football for decades. I have watched a lot of great running backs and many that are elite, among the best ever. And I can tell you with truthfulness of heart, I have never seen a running back in the physical shape that he is. It is stunning. It literally looks like God took a hammer and a chisel and went to a piece of granite and said, I'm going to design Zamir White. He is extremely disciplined in how he eats. He's very disciplined on getting his rest. All of those are things that he controls. So that's another reason for you to be highly optimistic about the rushing attack. Now let's go to the non-God-given things, okay? Zeus pays close attention in the learning parts of the game. Very close attention. He's a note taker. He watches film. He's super smart. Now, I am from a rural lifestyle. I've told you many times, I was raised in the cornfields of Langsburg, Michigan, and finished off my career among the Christmas trees of Cadillac, Michigan. And there is a mentality in a lot of America outside of rural areas to assume when somebody is country that they're stupid. That is a dangerous and stupid perception. Stupid. Just because somebody likes hunting and fishing or riding horses or is a country person doesn't mean they're dumb. It just means that they were raised differently than a lot of the country that's raised in a suburban or a urban setting. It's very dumb to look where somebody's from and assume anything. Don't do that at all. And so a lot of people, because they, I like to ride horses. I like to hunt and fish. That's all things that I enjoy. And while I certainly do not in any way consider myself a brain surgeon or a scholar, I think I hold my own. But Zeus is the kind of guy who has great vision, but he is a thinker. Now, I do believe it has hurt him at times early in his NFL career that he's overthought situations. When he was in high school and in college, he was able to just physically run over people. And even at Georgia, which was such an incredibly talented team around him, he still was a physical specimen. Then he gets to the NFL. Everyone's good here. There's nobody that's going to make this roster that isn't good. So sometimes you can overthink it. But he is a battering ram with speed and vision. So I think Zamir White is a great reason for you to be encouraged. Now let's go to Alexander Mattison. This is a young man who had very impressive stats when you understand what the stats tell you. I give you this example. I go back to horses. That's something that I know. A quarter horse is a big, muscular, strong animal. A thoroughbred is bigger, but they're both made for something. A quarter horse is bred and made for short distance, a quarter of a mile. A thoroughbred will go a mile and a half. So if you're having a quarter-mile race, you always want to pick the quarter horse. They're built they have quickness, not speed. So bam, in that first quarter mile, they're shorter than the thoroughbred. They're muscular, but they're shorter. So at a quarter mile, they'll beat everybody. But at a mile and a half, it's not even a race. The thoroughbred kills it. So it's important to understand every situation and what your guys are. Here's my point. A lot of people looked at Alexander Mattison's running stats last year and said, well, there wasn't enough touchdowns or whatever. They'd be critical. One thing I have learned is that anytime something happens, there are those who just so quickly want to get their voice out there that they'll throw out an opinion regardless of how stupid it sounds. But when you stopped and go back and look and say, okay, why did Alexander Mattison maybe not have this type of stat line or that type of stat line? All of a sudden you begin to look, and Kirk Cousins was injured. And so every team, including the Raiders, by the way, you may remember the Raiders shut them down. I think they gave up 6 points, 3 points, whatever, because they stacked the box and said Alexander Mattison is their offense. So when you look what he did, oftentimes facing a 7, 8, or 9-man front, his numbers were very impressive. And friends of mine who are part of the Minnesota Viking franchise shared with me about how valuable he is. A few weeks ago, one of our writers, I believe it was Carter Landis, but it could have been Ezekiel Trezevant, but one of our writers wrote an article about how one of the biggest off-season signings may very well have been Alexander Mattison. So you have Zamir, and then you got Alexander. Okay, then you come along, you got Amir Abdullah, who is a tremendous presence in the locker room. He is so valuable to this Raider team, so incredibly valuable as a leader. He's a very gifted man, a lot like Zeus. He takes care of his body. He's smart. And I'm going to tell you something that Raider Nation doesn't know about Amir Abdullah. Even though all these young running backs are trying to beat him out, he is in there teaching the game of football to these guys. He is a glue guy. I'm going to tell you, I covered him all the way back in the Big Ten. Amir Abdullah is one of my favorite football players, not just NFL, of all time. He is a man of character. He's a man of integrity. A lot of guys, if some guys are competing for his job, I'll give you a quick example. Last year, Aiden O'Connell was very respectful and spoke highly of Jimmy Garoppolo, very highly, privately and publicly. And I'll never forget, Jimmy was very complimentary as well. But Aiden had shared something about how Jimmy had been such a great help. And it was off camera. And I remember talking to Jimmy about the maturation of Aiden and how respectful. This was before the QB change. and just how respectful Aiden had been. And what did it make him feel as an older player that he was getting so much respect? And I'll never forget, one of the other media members said to me, and their heart wasn't being a jerk, that's why I'm not naming them, but hey, these guys are competing with each other. You may not want to ask them about somebody they're competing with. But I knew behind the scenes that that was not an issue. That was not a problem. I knew behind the scenes the relationship there. Okay, Amir is that guy. He's helping anybody and everybody. You need help? Amir's there. He's jumping in. How can he help? And I think that you can't undervalue that. So you got Alexander Mattison, who is a battering ram, just bam, bam, bam. And then you turn around and you've got an Amir Abdullah who's so elusive. So elusive. He just is amazing the way he's able to create space. And, Alexander Mattison, Zamir White will run right at you and run you over. Amir Abdullah will gone. He is just so elusive. And so again, just the differences. I think there's a lot of reasons to be very optimistic about the Raiders rushing attack. There are a lot of reasons. Now, there are some people that'll win the lottery and complain about paying the taxes. I get that. I understand it. That's the reality of the world we live in. There are some people that are just never happy. I can't help you. But if you live in Realville, which is where I live, then I'm telling you there are a lot of reasons for optimism with your rushing attack. Now, I'm going to be at camp every single day. I'll be bringing you podcasts with daily updates. What did I see today? What stood out to me today? What's visible today? What things am I watching tomorrow? So I really encourage you, keep our date, 365 days a year, right here, the Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast, because I'm going to keep coming at you. I'm going to be your eyes and ears in camp. I'm going to be bringing you what we're going to see. I also want to take a minute and remind you of this. We do between 12 and 14 pieces of written content every single day. Every single day, we're popping it out. Once camp hits, we're going to be 14 to 20 pieces of content a day, 100% free. Why other media are starting to charge you? Not us. Not us. We're going to continue to bring you quality information, and all we ask you to do is just continue to subscribe, to read, listen, watch, and share. Please share. Just take a second, hit the share button. Whether it's a story, you see it on Twitter, or you see it on IG, or you go to the website, si.com/NFL/Raiders. Share it. It's a way that we keep all the content. I am so proud to work for Sports Illustrated. We have a great staff of writers that work with me. But Zeke and I will be at camp. We're going to have our photographer, Daryl Craig Harris, will be there with me at camp. We're going to have lots of stuff for you. We want you to enjoy it, to get it all. We are your eyes and ears, and we know it. And can't wait to see you guys at camp. Tomorrow, got another thing we're going to really dig in on reasons for optimism. But as you know, we're 4 days away. It's almost here. It's almost time. I hope you're enjoying your last minutes before football comes with your family. Not that you're not going to see them, but let's face it, after football season starts, it does kind of hinder your style a little bit, unless you're one of those people that get your family to watch with you. I'm blessed because my wife loves football. She loves it. Now, it helps because she knows a lot of people in the game. We have friends who play, and she's friends with their wives, or we have friends who are coaches or in management. She's friends with them and their wives. So, but whatever, I hope that you guys get into it. My wife is so excited about the season. She's going to actually come out to some of the tailgates with me, and it's going to be great to see you all. So thanks for joining us. Look forward to training camp. When we get back together tomorrow, we're only 3 days away. Have a great day. God bless y'all. Let me make sure I turn this thing off. It's a new system, so I'm learning how to turn it off. Have a great day. God bless you, everybody.